Welcome to The Claw. I'm Eric Holtzclaw, Chief Strategist at Liger. The Claw is the marketing podcast for C-suite executives. I am joined today by Stephanie Nivinskus. She is with SizzleForce Marketing. Did I do it right, Stephanie?
You got it right. I'm impressed.
we practiced quite a bit before the show, so I'm always okay with that because I got Holtzclaw, hanging around with me, so most people can't pronounce it, and it's exactly like you said. It's just like it looks, right? Just say the word. You're clearing your throat. So, Stephanie, tell me a little bit about SizzleForce Marketing. What do you all do?
Yeah, so SizzleForce Marketing is a fractional CMO agency. We do strategy and we do execution, and we also have a strong specialization in AI marketing tools.
Okay, cool. So like AI marketing tools are one of your areas of
helping people integrate AI marketing tools into their day-to-day marketing activity.
Nice. Okay. Well, we'll definitely cover that as one of the topics. So, but before we get there, we just met and I want to know, how did you end up with SizzleForce Marketing? Like, what did you do in your past?
Yeah. So I have been in marketing my entire career. I started when I was 22, just turned 50. So yeah, sounds really old. I've been in it 28 years now. And when my degree was in journalism, and right after school, I jumped into the newspaper space because once upon a time that was actually cool and people actually read newspapers. And so at the beginning of my career, I started in marketing in the newspaper space. And then in the 90s was the advent of the internet. Yep. And I launched one of the first entertainment properties online. It was through Cox Communication.
Okay.
All right. I launched a local division called San Diego Insider.com, which actually still exists, but it's been acquired and has a new name. I did that. And I'm kind of like one of those people that likes to be on the cutting edge. I like to always do the newest thing. And so right when wireless became a thing, wireless apps, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get in on this. So I started marketing for one of the first wireless app companies that was developing apps for ski resorts.
Okay.
Which, because I live in San Diego, so it's kind of, but we don't really have ski resorts here. Then on, it's just in 2009, I opened SizzleForce Marketing, and here we are in 2023.
Well, interesting. So we have some similar backgrounds. I'm about your age. Or maybe exactly, and did technology things back in the day. So I was one of the first startups that we were a private record search engine on the internet. So yeah, and then did a lot of work. I owned a research company, and Cox Communications was a huge customer. So we used to go and do like a bunch of tests for them in different cities and things. San Diego is one of the cities that we came out and spent like a whole week doing studies and things like that. So yeah.
Wow, we maybe walked across next to each other in the hallway and
didn't know it. Yeah, absolutely. So with SizzleForce, so talk to me, so you talk about it being, incremental CMO, like what is an ideal client or project look like?
Yeah, ideal client. We tend to work with a lot of companies in, with revenues ranging from about 2 to 10 million a year. So we're not working with the big enterprise level companies. We're not working with the, fresh out of the attic companies either, or somewhere in between. And our ideal clients, there's not one particular vertical that we work within. We have done that a little bit in the past and just found that really it's more just about companies that are really forward thinking, wanting to be innovative, wanting to show up in a different and more powerful, more authentic way. Companies that really want to take advantage of automation, and companies are excited to grow and not do things the way they've always been done.
Yeah, that's an important part when you're kind of thinking about changing out your marketing approach, that you're ready for something new, right? Like that you're not kind of stuck to that legacy. Yeah, in that work, so tell me what you love about it. Like, what's your favorite part of the process?
I love the creativity. I love the fact that things are always changing. While some people are like, oh, it stresses me out, I can't keep up. That is what I am built for. I love all the changes, right? I love continual learning and continual testing and really pushing the results past the finish line in a new way as often as we can. And I'm a very much a creative at heart. So like I said, my degree was in journalism. So I get to write about all kinds of things. And it's so interesting learning about so many different companies, how they operate, how they show up in the marketplace. And I just love it. I've been at it 28 years. I better love it, right?
It's an interesting background that I find is a common one in this space because I love journalism too. I never was officially with a newspaper, but probably would have done that. That was one of the paths that I would have considered if I truly understood how much I like writing. And that kind of later in life realized how much, but was on like school newspaper, I did my high school and college school newspapers, and that's always been kind of my first love. And I think people like us like this, like we wanted the story, like what's the thing behind, like that interesting. Yeah.
The story and the consumer behavior, like the psychology of buying is so fascinating, and the mind and how people process their buying decisions.
Yeah. And so in that kind of exploration, so talk to me about that journey for you. So like, what's your go-to to determine what the consumer is doing?
Yeah, well, we actually follow a 7-step process in developing customer journeys, right? And the way that we break it down is you've got stage 1, which is awareness and engagement, right? What are you doing to grow awareness? What are you doing to foster engagement, right? Stage 2 is what are you doing to build your list, right? And really just acquire customer information, whatever that might look like. And then there's that first level conversion, which oftentimes when we're working with larger companies is something that is like it could be making an appointment to learn about something. It could be getting a free trial of a software. It could, it's things like that where it's high value, low cost, or zero cost. Then we jump into how are we nurturing? How are we exciting people? So let's say somebody has done, let's say it's a SNS company, for example, okay? They've done a free trial for something. For whatever reason, they didn't click buy now, okay, at the end of their trial. So what do we do with that lead, right? One of the things that we really, really emphasize is some people don't make immediate decisions, and you have to nurture them. You have to love on them. You have to continue to provide reasons for them to do business with you. You have to differentiate yourself from the market. You have to really build that trust and consumer confidence and whatnot. So we plan that out, okay? Then we move into step 5, which is what we call the ascension ladder phase. And this is where we are building out exactly what the offer is going to include and how we can maximize profitability at every step. So instead of somebody just coming in and buying X, we position it so they buy X, Y, and Z. And then we move into the final 2 stages. One of them is, the next one is advocate, which is how are we building their social proof, right? And being very intentional about that as opposed to just, somebody left us a Google review, right?
Right.
Be very intentional about how we're going to get that. And then finally, the promotion phase. And how are we going to get strategic partnerships and referral partners that are not just kind of like, I got a referral today and that was exciting, to a system where you can have frequent, predictable referrals and strategic alliances promoting your company on your behalf.
I really love the steps in there that you talk about the packaging, because like the hardest thing is to get someone to convert initially. And if you can do anything to like increase the dollars in that card or in that service, that's amazing, because you're already just like the, milkshake when you buy the burger, they make all the money off the milkshake. And then also that intentional social proof, because a lot of companies don't understand that you got to be intentional about that, right? Like how do you get people to come back, give you those reviews? Because what's in it for them unless you're putting something in place that really makes it palatable? The only reviews you may get are bad reviews.
That's right. And that, if the marketplace is left untrained in how you want to collect reviews, it's anybody's guess what's going to show up online for you. And it's anybody's guess how your prospects are going to perceive those reviews.
Very cool. So we're going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, one of the things you talked about is like automation, because I feel like along all those steps, there are ways specifically in today's world where we can automate some of those things because, as the marketer or the person who owns the business, you're like, oh my gosh, this marketing thing, there's so much work. And so it sounds like your company has thought through some ways to make that a little more efficient. So I want to talk, because I love efficiency. That's my other kind of like touch it once, never again. Like, how do we do that? You're listening to The Claw. I'm Eric Holtzclaw, Chief Strategist at Liger Partners. The Claw is the marketing podcast for C-suite executives. Talking today with Stephanie Nivinskus. She is with SizzleForce Marketing.
The Claw podcast is brought to you by Liger Partners. Liger Partners is a premier marketing firm where we save the world from boring, broken marketing. We get underdogs recognition because you deserve it. For more information, go to ligerpartners.com and follow us on all social media platforms at Liger Partners.
And we're back. You're listening to The Claw. I'm Eric Holtzclaw, Chief Strategist at Liger. The Claw is the marketing podcast for C-suite executives, and we're talking to an incremental C today, Stephanie Nivinskus. She is with SizzleForce Marketing. Stephanie, we were talking in the first segment about the kind of the you said 7 steps, right? Like the 7 steps along the customer journey. And one thing you and I discussed kind of before we started the show is you're, and even as part of it, you've always been part of like technology waves and advancement. So as you're looking at this, like what are some of the things that your firm does to help make that easier for your clients?
Yeah, well, of course, one of the most important things is, do they have a CRM up and running, and is it working?
For people who, what is a CRM?
A customer relationship management tool, right? So, we actually have our own. It's called Sizzle Suite.
So do you?
And
cool.
We do, yeah. And inside Sizzle Suite, it is a CRM plus. It does a lot of other things too. But this is the CRM part is just a core fundamental that you need to have in place. And it is a tool that will allow you to track all of your communications with your clients, right? Inside Sizzle Suite, we have something where you can enter a customer's information, you can track all the emails that go back and forth, all the texts that go back and forth, everything that goes back and forth, right? You can also move that customer in the sales process from one stage to the next stage. Like if they're in that, initial call phase where they're having a call and discussing an opportunity, or trial phase, and then what happens after that. So you can move them along that stage. The other thing is, when you want to utilize things like SMS marketing, or you want to use email marketing, or you even want to do no ring voicemail, right? Things like that, those can all be facilitated.
Several companies that I've worked with before have confused their like outbound email system for their CRM. They're not the same thing.
But they're good friends and they work together.
They should be good friends. Sometimes there's a little bit of oil between the two of them. We got to fix that. Yeah. Okay. So CRM, that's an important, because how else can you track it? Like how else do you know what's going on and what's happening? What are some other kind of automation tricks or ways that you make this easier for the clients that you're working with?
Right now, we're really taking advantage of a lot of AI tools. Since the AI space this technology is just blowing up, right? So there are so many things that we do. Like, for example, I know there's a million different AIs out there, but the one that everyone talks about right now is ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
And there are a million different plugins that you can get with ChatGPT that allow it to do much more than it would if you say off the shelf and you use the free version, right? With that, and then Zapier and connecting all the things together, there are a million different ways to really simplify the process of marketing your company. A lot of things that used to require human talent can now be done. I like to think of AI as kind of like doing the grunt work so that people can do the higher level thinking tasks and really dedicate themselves to a higher level strategy
Yeah, I've talked about it as, we've moved from the world of creation to the world of curation. So we're curating versus creating, and you have to have someone there to make sure what's being created is right. And humans will always be in that phase. Talking about tools, so tell me, either give me like your favorite tool right now, or maybe your favorite way you've seen it applied. Like what made you just like, you were really excited when you saw how it worked and what it did?
Wow, that's a hard question because I am looking at so much cool stuff right now. I think, well, one that I am totally digging is called Magi, MAGI,
yeah.
Right? And it is a blend. It's actually really interesting. It's a blend of ChatGPT 4, which is technically the paid version of GPT, right? And Claude, right, which is really good at large data analysis, right? Magi is doing super cool things in terms of interpreting data, but also it's so strong at storytelling in a way, which kind of going full circle to the beginning of this conversation, right? As a trained journalist, right? It's all about the story for every company. It always comes back to the story. And so I feel like there's the analytical side that it can do, and it can also do that more, if you want to say, the soft selling part with the story. And yeah, I'm digging Magi.
Is that more for like reporting back to your clients what's going on and working in the marketing space, or so that they can see customer journeys internally? Like what's the applications?
Well, it could be for reporting. We're actually using it internally as a tool to, for example, I can upload, like I wrote a book several years ago, right? I can literally upload the PDF version of my book and have it analyze my book and pull out the key points. And then as a result of pulling out key points or summarizing stuff for me, I can then take those key points and command it to create a very cool story post around that, right? That then I can put on LinkedIn, right? And it gets real touchy-feely and emotional. It makes you think and makes you tear up or makes you angry or makes you laugh, whatever. It evokes the strong emotion. And that's what makes people pay attention, right? It's not just more internet noise. It's something people can relate to and understand and appreciate. And as a result, they start to build more trust in the company.
Sounds just like that's a talk track I use all the time. Marketing should create a visceral reaction. Either make me mad, make me angry, make me cry, make me happy, like something, but don't do boring. Right. I got to feel something, because if not, I'm just going to ignore it. It's just going to pass by as gray noise. So yeah, cool. So what do you see on the future? So you're a person kind of like me who likes disruption and likes technology and likes to kind of see things change. What's something you're either seeing in the next couple of years as it relates to marketing or technology, or just even either something you're worried about, something you're excited about? Like where do you see it going?
Yeah. What am I worried about? Worry is kind of a strong word, but I would say that, of course, there is some concern about, the use of AI and how copyright, the U.S. Copyright Office is going to play nicely with AI. There's a little concern there, at my core, I'm a writer. And, I'm not really excited about somebody stealing my work, right? And at the same time, as someone who loves this disruption and knows, when it really comes down to it, how much original thought there really is. I think all of the thought that comes out right now is a collection of all the things that we've learned from other people throughout our life, right? And so I think, again, worry is a strong word. It's more of I'm curious and I'm cautiously optimistic with observing what's going to happen with all this AI excitement over the next couple of years. I am 100% on the AI marketing train. I think every company should be integrating it into their day-to-day marketing operations. I think every marketing department internally, or anybody who's touching any kind of marketing for your company, whether it be, someone who's just doing basic social media posts, or someone who's doing video scripting and, whatever it might be. They also need to be on the AI marketing train, because things are emerging and evolving very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be in a completely different space, probably in about 6 months.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not going to take long.
Yeah. The genie's out of the bottle. And the way I look at it too, like all the conversations around it are the same conversations that happened when the internet happened and when streaming happened and when social, like all those, these are the same conversations, and you have the same groups of people who are going to ignore it, the ones that are sort of the early adopters, yada, yada. So what opportunities are you leaving on the table by not going ahead? And, I remember distinctly being in rooms with companies like in the mid 2000s who still didn't have websites, because they're like, the internet's a fad. I'm like, well, it's long-term fad now. Like, it's kind of been around a while. People have been making a bunch of money off of it. So yeah.
When the internet came in, here I was working at the dinosaur, which now people laugh at, right?
Right.
But, when that first came out, that changed the entire world, right? Okay. And then social media, again, changed the entire world. Here we are. This is Act 3 of world-changing technology in my career and your.
Yep.
Right.
You just have to embrace it. You can't ignore it. It's somewhat, even if it's not, there's the public, whatever, there's ways that it'll get applied or used or whatever. So like, how do you make sure it's being used? So it's been great talking to somebody who's kind of got a similar career path to mine. That's kind of fun. Like you and I, again, probably passed paths in some point and didn't know it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thanks so much for being a guest on The Claw. I've been talking today with Stephanie Nivinskus. She is with SizzleForce Marketing, and I have struggled the entire show to try to get her name right, but I think I finally did it. You can find all the information you want about Stephanie in our show notes. And until next time, thank you for tuning in to The Claw.